Dear Sagittarius, have you ever forgiven in silence, but your heart was still bleeding? There was someone who did that to you, and they thought no one would ever see. But they forgot one thing. When Sagittarius is in pain, the universe speaks. They didn't know that your soul doesn't just carry light, it carries sacred justice. And today, you're not here by accident. You're here because truth is beginning to rise from the shadows. And justice is quietly opening its door. In this video, you will understand who cracked your soul, why they thought they could escape, and what is waiting for them on the other side of karma. If you feel something stirring within you, write this beneath the video. I am ready to walk into the sacred justice the universe has prepared for me. Because when you write it, you're confirming to the universe that you have awakened. And if you are Sagittarius, stay. Because in the next part, we will go deep into the first wound, the one you never told anyone about. But the universe still remembers. Have you ever passed by a familiar place and your heart suddenly ached, as if something unsaid still lingers in the air? Lately, if you're a Sagittarius, you may be feeling a sensation that's hard to explain. It's not exactly sadness and not quite anger. It's a stillness, as vast and deep as the sky you once trusted. And that's not a coincidence, because the moon is now transiting your 12th house, the house of buried memories, isolation, and the pain your soul hasn't yet healed. Astrology calls it the final gate, the place where everything unseen must take form, so it can finally be released. I must say this, not as an astrologer, but as someone who also stayed silent for too long. The silence of Sagittarius is not weakness. It's how you choose to forgive before you even pray. But that nobility can sometimes make others think you don't feel at all. They're wrong. Deeply wrong. There was someone who hurt you. They thought you had forgotten because you said nothing. They thought you were weak because you didn't retaliate. But did anyone know this? You once sat in the night not to blame, but simply to ask, what did I do wrong to deserve this? You once wondered, if I love purely, could that change them? And because you loved so deeply, you stayed, even when your instincts begged you to go. You hoped, even as your heart grew weary, not because you were weak, but because you were real. Forgiveness is not erasing memory. It is freeing yourself from the weight of someone else's mistake. And not everyone who forgives has lost. Sometimes they are souls strong enough to endure pain without passing it on. Have you ever felt that? Have you ever forgiven the one who hurt you, only to be dismissed for your mercy? If you have, leave a comment under this video. I forgave, not because they deserved it, but because I deserved to be free. Write it. Don't just think it, because when you write, you mark your first step out of your own silence. I don't believe silence means agreement. I believe there are kinds of silence that are the loudest screams of the soul. It's when you gather all your strength, not to strike back, but to stop yourself from becoming a reflection of the one who hurt you. If you're a Sagittarius, you understand this deeply. You could have burned everything down. You could have lashed out. But you chose not to. You chose to hold on to your humanity, even when they treated you like you had none left. Astrology taught me something important. The 12th house is not the end. It's where the soul sheds invisible chains. You may have never told anyone, but you've woken in the middle of the night just to feel an emptiness no one else could see. And you didn't understand why you were so tired. Not in your body, but in the deepest part of your heart. And that's happening because an unconscious cleansing is underway. The universe is not punishing you. On the contrary, the universe is purifying you, preparing you for something great, something true, something you have always deserved, and that is finally coming your way. Take a moment now to breathe deeply and look back at those you once loved. Was there anyone among them who touched your deepest pain, but never once owned the harm they caused? If so, I want you to remember this. You don't need their apology to begin healing. Say this aloud, or write it down if you're ready. I no longer carry the weight of others on my shoulders. No one has the right to make you hold pain you did not create. No one has the right to escape the consequences. just because you chose silence. But the universe is not silent. Your silence does not mean no one saw. And when Sagittarius awakens, the wheel of justice doesn't just turn. It remembers every single thing. Soon, we will look closely at how the universe is secretly returning everything to where it truly belongs. So don't go, because justice is about to speak. There are truths that don't need to be spoken aloud, yet they echo across all space and time. Just like forgiveness, not given because someone deserves it, but because you no longer want their darkness living in your heart for one more day. Sagittarius, it's time you knew you were never truly alone. And the universe, even in silence, has been quietly recording everything. Jupiter, your ruling planet, is now forming a powerful trine with Pluto, the planet of transformation and symbolic death. This isn't a random moment in the sky. This is a signal of karmic return, a sacred balance that no one, no matter how powerful, can interrupt. Karma doesn't knock with noise, it arrives through consequence. You don't need to be the one to expose the truth, because the truth has a strange habit. It erupts at the right moment, to the right person, in a way no one could ever expect. There was someone who left you in deception. Maybe they didn't walk away with a clear goodbye. Maybe they left by manipulating, with half-truths, with the kind of words that made you apologize for your own feelings. And you, strong Sagittarius, stood in silence. You didn't make a scene, you just stepped back. But from that quiet retreat, the wheel of justice began to turn. I used to believe that if someone hurt me, the only way to reclaim my dignity was to speak up. I thought I had to say it all just to be cleared. But over time, I learned this. Some truths don't need to be shouted, because truth always finds its way back to the light. And justice doesn't need anyone to defend it. It only needs someone strong enough not to betray themselves. They know how to return to the light on their own. And when a Sagittarius chooses to keep their heart clean, justice finds them, like a promise the universe never forgot. True justice is when you don't need to prove anything, when you don't have to point fingers, because everything false will eventually rot from the inside. Have you ever witnessed that? Someone who once denied with pride, who lived behind a mask of pretense, suddenly began to lose the very things they believed untouchable: their reputation, their credibility, their relationships, or something simpler, their inner peace. If you've ever seen the wrong be returned to its rightful place, share your story. Because when you tell it, you're not just healing yourself, you're giving strength to someone who is still silent, just as you once were. Astrology calls this phase the exposure of karmic energy. Pluto doesn't speak loudly, but it digs deeply. And Jupiter expands everything it touches, even buried truths. And when these two planets align, what was once hidden is pulled to the surface, where light has no choice but to shine upon it. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to speak with bitterness. You don't need to reclaim your honor, because the universe is doing it for you, with grace, fairness, and a precision no one can escape. Maybe you once lay on the floor, out of tears to cry, but still whispered to yourself, "Am I crazy for still believing in goodness?" No, you're not crazy. You're simply holding on to a core that refuses to be corrupted. And that is exactly why the universe chose you to help restore balance to this world. If these words speak directly to your soul, write this beneath the video. I don't need revenge. I trust in sacred justice. And you'll feel it, as if someone has gently lifted a weight you couldn't name until now. And now Sagittarius, the one once bound by pain, the one who stayed silent to protect others from harm. You're stepping through a new threshold, a gateway where the light of truth begins to bloom from your oldest wound. And the strangest thing is, as you walk forward, the one who hurt you is being held back by the very karma they once ignored. Then you'll understand, the universe didn't just return fairness to you, it lifted you to a place they can no longer reach. Have you ever asked yourself, why is it, after everything, you still can't hate the one who caused your pain? You don't wish them harm. You don't want them to suffer like you did. You don't even need them to return what they took. The only thing you long for is peace. And that, dear Sagittarius, is why you are being called at this moment. Astrology reveals a powerful shift unfolding right now. The energy axis between Jupiter, your ruling planet, and Taurus, the sign of values and endurance, is teaching you one of the deepest truths. Courage isn't when you strike back, it's when you stand in truth, even if you must stand alone. You may have once thought you were weak because you couldn't let go of the memory, but no, that is strength. The strength of a soul who refuses to pretend it has forgotten just to feel temporary peace. You are the traveler between darkness and light, the one who walked through the depths but kept your heart from going cold. You don't need to forget in order to move on, because every wound is also a map for someone else who's lost just like the past version of you once was. You have forgiven, but you haven't forgotten. And you don't need to forget to live forward, because every memory, no matter how painful, is a light that shines backward, illuminating the path you're walking now. True maturity is when you no longer need to see someone punished to feel that justice was served. Because you've come to understand, justice isn't found in pain. It's found in peace. You've seen, you've understood, you've risen above, without needing validation, without needing apologies, because you and only you chose not to respond in the way they expected. I believe there are wounds that don't need to be healed, because they've become sacred marks. They remind me that I once loved with all of my heart, and when I stopped hoping to be healed, that was the moment I was set free. Is there something you've forgiven, but no, you'll never allow back into your life? If so, leave a comment. I've learned the lesson, and now I am free. Because when you acknowledge it, the universe knows you're ready for what's next. Sagittarius, you're no longer who you once were. You used to chase truth. Now you protect it, even when no one wants to hear it. And that's why you've been chosen, not to retaliate, but to awaken. To awaken who? Maybe your past self. Maybe someone else making the same mistake you once made. Or maybe a whole lineage of souls in your family who never had a voice of their own. If you feel that this is calling your name, write, "I am the light for myself and for those who have lived in darkness like me." Write it as a declaration. Write it as an invitation for higher energy to find you. And when you do, you create a ripple of awakening for thousands of souls who are silently listening to the same story. And the strange thing is, the one who left you, the one who thought they could manipulate your heart like a puppet, is now being watched by the very sacred justice they once denied. And you, Sagittarius, you no longer need to look back, because everything you once endured in silence is now being returned to its rightful place. Let me tell you what happens when justice doesn't announce itself, but arrives with perfect precision. There are moments when you thought you were weak because you didn't reply, when you let them have the last word, when you walked away in silence, even with 1,000 questions still burning in your chest. You may have asked, will they ever understand what I went through? And if you're hearing these words today, the answer is yes. Not because they chose to look back, but because the universe has begun showing them who they truly are through the very pain they caused you. Right now, Pluto is in retrograde, a brutally revealing astrological event. If the sun illuminates the surface, then Pluto exposes the shadows no one dares to face, especially in relationships marked by secrecy, manipulation, or power imbalance. Darkness believed it could disappear into nothing, until light called it by name. This is the moment when things once hidden under the disguise of love begin to fall apart. Not so that you'll look back, but so that you can finally be set free. There was someone who once controlled your emotions through their silence, who made you feel guilty simply because you wanted to be loved, who used their gaze, their words, or even their indifference as a weapon. They believed you would always need them. They believed you could never live in peace unless they were still around. But now, they are the ones who cannot find peace within themselves. I believe there is a kind of karma that is quiet. It doesn't bring someone down all at once, It slowly strips away the things they thought could never be touched: respect, stability, and finally, inner peace. You don't have to shout for justice. You only have to live in truth and let the universe speak on your behalf. Someone who once manipulated you may now be losing the trust of those around them. Their work becomes chaotic. Their relationships begin to crack. Not because you sought revenge, but because the imbalance within them has begun to spill outward. Karma is not punishment. It is the natural result. When someone sows what is wrong, they are the one who lives in that energy every single day. Have you ever felt like justice came late, but arrived at exactly the right time? If so, leave your affirmation below. I trust in the precision of the universe. Every truth has its time to be revealed. Sagittarius, you are a bearer of both light and deep understanding. You are not here to retaliate. You are here to transform, to break the cycle, so that pain will not be passed down through you. Maybe no one ever protected you. But today, the universe stands with you, not with thunder, but with quiet, just, and exquisitely precise arrangements. And that is when your soul begins to be purified. No more resentment, no more running. You're about to step into a phase of life where new connections won't come to fill a void, but to resonate with the version of you that has already healed. Now, let me show you what's coming for a heart that chose light, even after drowning in darkness. Can you feel it? That quiet sensation, as if your heart is smiling again after so long just trying to survive. When a soul has moved through all its pain, it no longer seeks someone to soothe its wounds. It looks for someone to walk beside it. No rushing, no fixing, just walking. According to astrology, the union of Venus with the North Node, the point of soul destiny, is now opening a special chapter of profound love. This is not the kind of love that comes to repair you. It comes to walk with you in the strongest and most authentic version of who you've become. Soulmate, alignment, divine partnership, not lofty concepts, but a state of soul where you are seen and understood without needing to explain. You don't need someone to love you as you were. You need someone who understands who you are now. The one who loved you when you were full of holes may not be the one who can reach your healed heart today. Because the right person is not the one who makes you forget your scars. It's the one who sits beside them, looks at them, and still sees you as beautiful. There is someone the universe is guiding towards you. Not to fix you, because you already did that on your own. They are coming to witness, to listen to a heart that has grown through everything. To walk beside you, not to possess you. True love doesn't arrive to complete you, because you were never incomplete. That kind of love is simply a hand reaching for yours and saying, let's walk together, and each remain who we truly are. Maybe you once got used to having to try so hard just to be chosen. To shrinking yourself so you wouldn't be too much. To sacrificing your truth just to fit inside the frame someone else built for you. But no more. Love is coming. Not so that you'll make yourself smaller, but so that you can shine, and no one feels dimmed by your light. If you feel your heart is ready, leave this comment below. I am ready to welcome a new soul connection. Write it, because that's how you open the spiritual doorway. So that love enters, not as a test, but as a harmony. I don't believe everyone has only one other half. I believe you are already a whole soul. And if someone enters your life, they're not here to complete you. They're here to build something greater, together. The most beautiful image of love? It's when two people don't need to cling to each other to know they belong. It's when each is free, but still chooses to return to one another. Because that peace is greater than any loneliness they've ever known. But before you receive that, there is one final release that must be spoken. Not to the one who hurt you, but to the wounded part of yourself. Thank you for surviving. From this moment on, you are free. In the next part, I'll take you to the place where your soul is cleansed, where you write the final words still left unsaid, the release for the one who left and for yourself. Some people come into our lives, not to love, but to awaken, not to stay, but to teach our soul how to let go. Sagittarius, if you still carry a name in your heart, if sometimes you still think of them, not out of love, but because the final words were never spoken, then this is the moment. This is the sacred hour to close what's still unfinished. On the astrological chart, the sun is squaring Chiron, the asteroid of soul wounds. When these two meet, old pain rises again, not to torment you, but to finally be healed at its root. Pain was once your companion, now it's the one sending you into your next chapter. No longer the gasp in your chest when an old song plays. No longer the moment you want to call, but don't know what to say. No longer the dream that leaves your heart heavy when you wake. Forgiveness is not letting them escape consequences. Forgiveness is choosing to walk out of the emotional prison for which you alone held the key. You don't need their apology to keep living. You just need to choose yourself, with kindness, with finality, and without regret. You may have asked yourself, why do I still think of them? Even though I understand everything now, it's not because you still love them. It's because that wound has been waiting to be called by its true name. Today, call it this. The lesson is over. If you're ready, write this beneath the video. I am ready to step out of the prison of memory. Don't write it as a casual phrase. Write it as if you're laying the final stone on the grave of a past that no longer lives. Not in bitterness, but in gratitude. Because from that very place, you became who you are today. I don't believe in final endings, only in transformation, from one kind of love into a deeper kind of acceptance. You loved them with everything you had, and now you're pulling your hand back with a heart still full. Not because you're cold, but because you finally chose to stay with yourself. Imagine yourself lighting a candle, not to call them back, but to send off the part of you that once lived for someone else, back into the light. No one can do this for you. Only you, the Sagittarius who once endured in silence, have the courage to speak the final word to a former love in peace. And now, when everything has already been said, through tears, through sighs, and through a silence full of light, the universe begins to offer its final recognition. Sagittarius, a truly free soul, you have passed the greatest test, not to forget someone, but to remember yourself. In the final part, I will walk you through the most sacred moment, when you are chosen, when the light begins to lead the way, when destiny leans in and says, it is time. There are rewards that don't arrive in material form, that don't show up as titles or money or someone's validation. There are rewards only the soul can feel. And today, if you are Sagittarius, the universe wants you to know, you have been seen. Not because you defeated anyone, but because you never lost yourself in the fight with pain. On your astrological chart, a sacred symbol is beginning to shine. Juno, the asteroid of soul commitment, is casting its light directly onto your sign. This is the universe affirming, you kept your promise to your own soul, and for that, you are worthy of what comes next. You no longer have to prove anything. You no longer need an apology to keep living. You no longer need to be chosen by others, because you have chosen yourself. And when you survive heartbreak without losing faith, the universe won't give you back what you lost. It will give you what you were always worthy of, but not yet strong enough to receive. Maybe it's a new person. Maybe it's a door to your purpose, a place you never imagined you'd set foot in. Or simply a state of being where you wake each morning with nothing left to fear. I believe life doesn't punish those who hurt you. It simply hands them the very energy they put into the world. And it gives you inner freedom, the one thing no one can ever take away. If you feel that you've come to the end of this journey with your heart still whole, write this. I have been recognized by the universe, and I now step into my new chapter with my own light. Write it down, because writing is how you imprint new energy onto your life. No one needs to witness it. Only the universe needs to know you are ready. Sagittarius, you are the light that never needed to steal the stage. You are the truth that never had to scream to be real. You are the one who, after all the noise has faded, still walks forward with kindness as your armor. The one who, when the world turned its back, still chose not to turn your back on yourself. You didn't let pain make you bitter. You didn't let loss close your heart. You didn't let disappointment stop you from believing in love. And because of that, you've been chosen. Take one final deep breath. Place your hand over your heart and whisper to yourself, I walked through the dark and still kept my light. The universe witnessed your journey, Higher beings prayed on your behalf when you had no strength left. And now, it's time for you to receive, not what you once begged for, but what you were always meant to have. If you've made it this far, know this: you are not alone. There are thousands of Sagittarius souls walking this same road, also learning how to love themselves again. And if this video has touched you, share it with someone who needs it. Because when you share your light, the light within you grows.